this group. Good morning. Friends, look around. Your table, around this room, is filled with people who've chosen to care. Not passively, not politely, but actively, urgently, and with purpose. You care about the future of Northern California. You care about the future of our democracy. You care about the future of this planet. That matters. Every day that still matters. So what do we do with that when the world is on fire? That's what we're here to figure out together. So welcome. We're so grateful you're here today. Chose to be here this morning. For those who don't know me, haven't had the chance to meet, I'm Dwayne Marsh. I'm the president of Northern California Grantmakers, user of he and him pronouns, and I want to say a bit more about why I do this work, but I'll get to that in a minute. We begin today by acknowledging the land on which we stand. We lift up the stewards of this land who have cared for it for generations, and who are still here continuing to lead, resist, and fight for their homelands. We are on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. Their ongoing presence is an essential part of our region's past, present, and future. As indigenous stewards of this land, and in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, as well as for all peoples who reside in their traditional territory. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. At NCG, we understand that legacies of colonization and systemic racism are the roots of displacement, inequity, and injustice. Our shared work for racial equity and justice is inseparable from the movements of indigenous people. Each year, NCG commits 1% of all membership revenue to land tax initiatives within our region, including Sigorte Land Trust, another reason to join, the Wiyot Honor Tax, and the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone, and the Yelamu and Yinikin Land Tax. We encourage you to join us in this act of returning resources by supporting land taxes in your area. Today, we're also honored to be in partnership with Sigorte, who will be leading a breakout session later on this morning, moving towards repair, philanthropy's role in funding remediation and indigenous land return. This session is a space to deepen our understanding of indigenous land rematriation and explore how philanthropy can move in right relationship with indigenous communities. This acknowledgement isn't just ceremonial. It's a reminder that our past is not past, that the decisions we make today are always made on ground shaped by history, by struggle, by resistance. We make these acknowledgements, we gather together in spaces like this, we tell the truth about where we've been, because we're living in a time when that truth is under attack. We're being asked explicitly and implicitly to forget what we've learned, to abandon what we fought for, to normalize what we think is unjust. At this year's conference theme, Becoming Our Vision, invites us to remember that transformation is not something that we outsource. It's something we embody together. So how did those first 100 days work out for you? It's quite the frame for the moment we're in, sorry, and it's happening really fast. I'm not going to belabor the details of what we're living through. In fact, part of the strategy is to flood the zone, to wear us down, to overwhelm our capacity to care. But here's the thing. You showed up anyway. Whether from downtown San Francisco, from the peninsula, all the way from the Central Valley, or for the far reaches of true Northern California, you chose to be here, and not just to be here, but to lead. And while what is truth has come into deep question now, I want to offer 5 realities to ground us in this conversation, our day, and the mission going forward. The relentless waves of attacks on our civic institutions, media, academia, the judiciary, the public sector, and philanthropy, all tightly align with the authoritarian playbook. Our most vulnerable communities and the organizations that stand with them and serve them on the front lines are now targeted with assaults that hold a degree of malice unseen in 2 generations. Our nonprofit partners are being challenged to do more than ever and to meet these greater expectations with resources insufficient to the task. Social divides are greater than ever, which inhibits building a national sense of common good as wealth concentration feeds a growing and real sense of scarcity for most people. And the combination of direct attacks, 360-degree crises, and economic downturns that directly impact giving power all directly affect our sector's response and hitting the boldness that this moment demands. So, what do? We start by letting go of the idea that philanthropy is supposed to save everything. We are not the salvation. Feeling that pressure to solve every aspect of the social economic maelstrom engulfing our communities contributes to our paralysis. But we are undeniably a critical part of the solution. So let's unpack that a little bit. A few weeks ago, I wrote a piece called "There Are No Sidelines." I know all of you read it very carefully, but in case you missed it, the message was simple. Whatever your approach, this is not the time for inaction. There are many ways to make meaningful differences in this moment, which, by the way, is a bit of a misnomer, as we're looking at some of these core conditions to be in touch with us and around us for the next several months. Find your lane and lean in with the urgency you'd feel if a family member was at risk, because odds are they are. It's time to move with clarity, with urgency, and with each other. Today is about your leadership, but also your humanity. It's about strategy, but also your heart. You'll see this reflected in today's agenda. We've designed it to elevate your spirit, sharpen your perspective, energize your leadership skills, and reconnect you to purpose. We're all professionals, organizers, strategists, implementers, and we need healthy doses of all that to find our way forward. Because while we need the planner's mind and the organizer's drive, what we really need is one another. Because if there were ever a time when we needed to be well-coordinated, mutually supportive, and thoughtfully complementary, it's now. So, this is your moment. Not a perfect moment, nor a convenient one, but a necessary one. So if you care about the fate of Northern California communities, our democracy, and the planet at large, and you've already shown you do, then embrace the undeniable, inspiring, terrifying reality that this is our moment, and find grounding in the truth that we have more power we realize to influence where this conversation and where this story goes. I've mentioned my own origin story and not knowing any better than to confront the systemic inequities that unfortunately have defined our nation's history. I've often said that this role is the 5th chapter in a 35-year love story with racial equity and systems change. But in truth, it stretches back much further, and it starts at home. I don't think anyone in this room has had the opportunity to meet my father. It's unfortunate. He recently completed a remarkable 91-year life journey. He spent 70 of those years deeply committed to racial and economic justice in conditions that were frankly deplorable. The work of his generation is what has us here declaring that what's happening now is unacceptable, because their efforts helped us to see that we can have a better society with equity as a touchstone, that we deserve better. While I am who I am because of my mother, I do what I do because of him. They formed the center of an extended community of care that led me to believe that fighting for justice was just what everybody did for a living. Of course, I later went to college in the Northeast and found out that was not the case at all, but I decided to continue in that work anyway. His commitment to fight and the grounding and balance he brought to it is now mine. And trust me, this is a fight he would have relished. And now I've had the fortune to find a life partner who shares this commitment and makes that journey that much sweeter. Family legacy is the metronome that has forged me and guides me in this moment. What's your metronome? With that in mind, I ask you this. Please move firmly, quickly, steadily, but not alone. Make today count as a space for deep connection across the philanthropic ecosystem. Share your strengths and be open to learning from the brilliance in this room. 511 of you chose to register for today's conference, and each of you brings something invaluable to this conversation. Unleash communities to act now and plan big, co-creating strategies with those in the front lines. Fund vision, not just reaction. Move in true solidarity with the nonprofit sector. Not just funding, but embracing their expertise and following their lead. And invest at the scale of the challenge. The time value of your money will never be greater. And if you were saving for the rainy day, I have news for you. It's here and it's pouring. And if you can do these things, lead with commitment, act with imagination, move with collective strength, then NCG will do our part to connect you, to amplify you to what works and talk about what doesn't, to coach the willing and introduce new players, to push bold investment at the scale of the challenge. to unlock capital and pool resources, to leverage trustee and donor activities, to build the connective tissue this moment demands. The frequent flyers of the annual conference know I often refer to this event as punctuation, the culmination of a year's efforts and work in our regional community, and celebration of the commencement of the year to come. The closing of a chapter, and the beginning of what we're brave enough to write next. It's not hyperbole to name that the next sentence we craft in the tapestry of Northern California philanthropy may be the most important of our generation. And what we write next will be read by the communities we serve, will be felt by the generations that follow, and will reflect the vision we're bold enough to become. So use today to refill your quills, recharge your spirit, reanimate your actions to build the kind of region our communities deserve. Steady your hand with resolve and write the future our people do deserve, bold, just, and alive with possibility. To that end, let's begin.